Hey, everybody, I just wanted to remind you that we have Shred Day coming up at Statler Financial on Friday, December 4th. From 10 to 2, we'll have the shredder truck there behind our office, ready and willing to shred your stuff, up to 5 boxes. So come by. It'll be a drive-by, contactless system where you drive by. We'll have people there to take it out of your trunk or out of your back seat, wherever it's at, and get it shredded for you. Hey, we do ask if you can to bring by some non-perishable food items for the mission. We'll be collecting that to help them out during this holiday season. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody tomorrow or today, whichever you look at it. It's Friday, doesn't matter. It's Friday, December 4th from 10 to 2. Come join us, get your stuff shredded. I look forward to seeing each and every one of you there on Friday. Take care. Good morning, everybody. Hey, welcome to Thursday, December 3rd. I hope your week's been going well as we have a couple more days before we get to the end of this week. Yesterday, kind of a mixed day. We'll talk about that. Just another reminder about risk and risk in your portfolio. If you don't know what your risk number is between 1 and 100, you really need to give us a call so that we can determine if the risk you have in your portfolio really matches up with your risk tolerance. To do that, to schedule your financial x-ray, just give us a call at 863-382-0037. And we'd be happy to help you through that process. Hey, next coming up, we'll be talking with Dave.
0.7 like that. Rhythmics there. It's Morning Dave here. We call this the early morning show because, well, it starts out awful gosh darn early. And after I've been here for a couple of hours, I'm about ready to talk intelligently about finances. But to make sure I'm staying intelligent, we got an expert here. Phillip Statler from Statler Financial Services on the line. Check and see what's going on Wall Street this morning before they open. Phillip, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Dave. Doing well today as we, we're getting wrapped up and prepared for Shred Day tomorrow. So I hope people have been stocking up their stuff and getting ready to bring it down to the office to get shredded tomorrow morning.
That's right. Like I've been saying, bears aren't the only ones that go through your trash. They just make a mess. Some people go through your trash looking for items they can use to steal your identity. We'll take care of that issue tomorrow morning starting at 10, right?
That's right, man. We're looking forward to it. Drive by is all it is. You don't have to get out of your car. Good thing. And we'll have people there to take it and put it right there on the shred truck to be shredded.
And you can pause and watch it go into the bin and watch them throw it into the shredder truck so you know it's gone. And that starts at 10 tomorrow morning. I'm looking forward to being down there, Phillip. It's always fun joining you folks down there for Shred Day because even when we're doing social distancing, it's a party. And it's kind of fun watching you making acquaintance with your regular clientele and making a few new friends, too, every year.
That's right. We do. We always enjoy it. And we feel like it's a great community service to be able to give back to our community that's done so much for us, and we really appreciate it. So this is just one way we can kind of show that appreciation.
Understood. So let's set the table for the morning. Yesterday was a little bit of a turnaround because you and I didn't have particularly good attitude starting the day out. Dow ended up 60 points. Standard & Poor's managed to eke out a 6.5-point gain. And NASDAQ had been kind of flying high anyway for a couple of days, so it was down just under 6. Almost looked like a semi-normal day on Wall Street, as if any day is ever normal anymore, right?
That's right. There is no normalcy in this market, but yesterday was not a bad day.
Absolutely. We start out the morning with employment information. In the wee hours of the morning, the Challenger report came out. That's a private survey as far as what planned layoffs look like in the business world. And it showed a pretty substantial decrease. Last month, the plan was for 80,670 layoffs expected, down to only 64 and change this month. That ends up looking halfway decent. And compare it up with the first-time unemployment claim figures, it looks good as well. We went down to 712,000, which was quite a bit less than the market expected. And you and I were comparing notes and continuing claims, too. Our different sources had expectations different, but by any measure, we had a much lower number of continuing unemployment claims than expected.
Yeah, we did, Dave. And so I'm seeing the market start to bounce back a little bit now, but it's that's right. So we had first-time claims, really and truly, that's 712,000. It is not a bad number. I mean, the estimates were anywhere from about 765,000 to 780,000. So that was definitely a good indication, especially the week that we're looking at there. And so, but the other part to look at, I think, Dave, is we got holiday hiring too. So that's going to help offset some too.
Understood, which is kind of why I was looking at the continuing claims number as being probably the bellwether for this, because a lot of things end up offsetting back and forth, and we're actually bringing some people back to work too with the drop in continuing claims. So we may not like the speed with which the economy is recovering from the spring shock, but it's hard to argue that there's a recovery going on.
Well, that's right. There is definitely a recovery going on, and so we see continuing claims down by, well, depending on who you look at, but about 500,000. So maybe the analysts expected more than that.
It's a possibility. I was noting earlier that right after the claims came out, the markets kind of dipped by a little bit, and it was a directionless night with kind of a downward tinge. I was kind of thinking maybe some of it might have come from the fact that Vice President Biden, President-elect Biden, I'm not going to get into the nitpicking as far as whether he's earned the title yet or not, but he told reporters yesterday that he did not plan to just lift all the Chinese tariffs willy-nilly after January 20th. He's got a political reason to want to be able to show that he can be tough with China because it was one of the topics during the presidential campaign. But I suspect to a lot of import and internationally sensitive stock, that was not what a lot of stockholders wanted to hear.
Well, I'm sure it wasn't in that terms, but it could be good for other companies here in the United States. The other thing that I saw is Pelosi and Schumer are backing a $900 billion stimulus plan. I find that interesting because if you remember back before the election, they were dead set on like a $3 to $4 trillion stimulus package, and they weren't bending any.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds like about half or a third of what they were holding out for earlier. That's good news, some movement in Congress. How'd that happen?
I'm not sure. I didn't get a chance to read the article. I'm just looking at headlines.
maybe it was the eggnog over Thanksgiving weekend that softened them up. Huh? It's interesting, actually. When you get into a lame duck session, weird things can happen. Republicans vote like Democrats, and Democrats vote like Republican because, there's no accountability. So we're starting to see minds get changed a little bit, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. There's never a rhyme or reason for what they do up there.
At times, you're absolutely right. We do have a bunch of reports this morning. We didn't have the report per se, but it bears note because we're watching the restaurant industry among the more sensitive industries during the pandemic. Cracker Barrel released their sales figures, didn't see the full quarterly report, but they said their sales last quarter were down by like 16.4%. And we were kind of noodling that through before we went on the air. You consider the fact that, Cracker Barrels have a tendency to have a more elderly customer base than many. That's the population that's a bit more sensitive to the pandemic. They may be one of the slower recoveries among the restaurants.
Well, the other thing to think about Cracker Barrel is they're always by the highway. And they're affected by travel because a lot of people will stop in there as they're traveling through. I mean, that's what I know Joyce and I do a lot of times. As we're traveling, we'll find a Cracker Barrel because we pretty much know what we're going to get when we stop there. And so travel's down, that's going to affect them as well as their kind of niche customer.
Now, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, we've got the government banging on our heads almost on a daily basis saying don't travel. And well, if you got a business that sits at interstate exits, that's a valid point as well. Other companies that we've got that actually gave us quarterly reports, Phillip, you got some good news for us this morning?
Well, I wish I could say I do. It's kind of a mixed bag this morning, but we have some retailers coming out. And so I know we've already had a lot of them, but we've got some specialty retailers in Express. They are a clothing retailer. They got hammered pretty hard. They lost $1.39 a share. which was a lot wider than expected. They were expected to lose like 51 cents a share. So revenue also missed, but I'm sure they don't show up on your big losers list, but they really should. They lost 26% right now this morning. And they're really a pretty low price stock. I mean, they're down to, get this, Dave, $1.17 a share right now.
Ew, they're in danger of getting delisted any farther than that.
Yeah, they are getting pretty close to that. But so we may not see Express around much longer the way I see that going.
I know I'm going to guess, just stereotyping, because they're a young adult store. I suspect they're going to be very, very dependent on a good Christmas rush this year. And I haven't heard a lot about them doing a lot of online, so I'd be worried as well.
Yeah, I'm not so sure how that's going to turn out for those folks. The other, I got two kind of retailers. You got Dollar General. You know, they're popping up everywhere. They're trading down a little bit this morning, even though they had better than expected same store sales. They were up like 14%. And even their earnings were like 31 cents better than expected at $2.31. So I'm not real sure, but they are getting hammered a little bit this morning. They're down about 2%. I didn't see any forward guidance, so I'm not sure what's really putting some pressure on them this morning, other than they are pretty close to their 52-week high. They're about $10 short of that right now. They're a pretty high price stock at $2.13.
Yeah, I was going to say they show up on my list as one of the big losers, and they've been one of the high flyers during the pandemic. So I was going to ask if you knew why.
Yeah, and the last retailer I have, I kind of call it retailer. I'm not sure if you really. It's Stitch Fix. You know, they're the clothing company that automatically just sends you what they think you need, and you send back what you don't want. So they got downgraded. So yeah, they got downgraded. They didn't really report earnings yet, but they did get downgraded by Wells Fargo and some other companies, and they're trading down about 3% this morning. So the other, let's see, what else did I have? Oh, I had a company, Crowdstrike, which is a internet security, cybersecurity company, which they're usually doing pretty good, right? They're doing all right. They reported 8 cents earnings, which was better than expected. Revenue was a little less than expected this morning, but they're trading up. They're getting a nice bump this morning, up 12.3%. And actually, if they open where they are right now at $1.59, that would be a new 52-week high for them.
Well, I was going to accuse you of not having any merry sunshine this morning until you cooked that one up. Restocking the shelves here this morning. Yesterday, a mixed bag. Dow and the S&P up by a little. NASDAQ down by a little. It was a profoundly unexciting day by the time it closed. 45 minutes before we open this morning. What are we doing, Phillip?
Hey, as Dave, it's still kind of unexciting. A little lackluster. We've got the Dow. Basically, you call it even. I mean, it's up $12. We've got the S&P 500, kind of the same thing. It's down $2, which is basically nothing. And then we've got the NASDAQ, as high as it is. It's up a little over 0.1%, up $18. So nothing really exciting on that front. And we go to the commodities front. Not much exciting over there either today, Dave. We've got silver down another 1/3%, and we got gold up 0.5%. And then crude oil, it is up from where you and I talked yesterday, but it's still down 1/4% from where it closed yesterday. But it's over 45.18 a barrel right now.
Well, we'll take that as it goes anyway. Got a pretty positive day going on overseas. Asian rim markets generally up at the close early this morning. Europe is kind of directionless, a little bit like us. England's up by a little bit. Germany's down by a little bit, but nothing that really shows a trend midway through their trading day. Talking about Shredder Day tomorrow, and we'll do that in a second with the commercial, but let's remind everybody that as weird as things are, when you and I can't put our heads together and figure out why on earth the market is reacting the way it is, that means, hey, The average person isn't going to be able to either. That takes stability. How do I find you to get that stability in my retirement fund?
Devin, give us a call at 863-382-0037 to schedule a financial x-ray. That will allow them to know how much risk they really and truly have in and within their portfolio. Again, that's 863-382-0037. Or even easier than that, they can go to my website, statlerfinancial.com, and there's a link to my calendar where they can schedule their own appointment. And then join us this weekend for the Statler Financial Radio Show, 6 a.m. and I think you said 11:30.
Yep,
And then 10 o'clock Sunday morning on Highlands News Talk, 7:30 a.m.
Show up for the Gator game an hour early, and we can educate you at the same time, 11:30 on Saturday morning. That's it. Phillip, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow morning at Shredder Day, and tomorrow morning right here on Light. Fair enough?
Fair enough, buddy. Have a great day.
Thank you, my friend. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services. Phillip Statler. All the
Hey, everybody, I want to thank you for joining us today. Let me remind you one more time about Shred Day coming up tomorrow. That's Friday, December 4th from 10 to 2 behind my office. My office is on South Ridgewood, coming off of Franklin Street. It's right there. We'll have a shredder truck back in the alley ready to shred your stuff. Also, we'll be collecting food items for the mission to help them out during this holiday season. So looking forward to seeing you then. Take care, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye now.